I like to walk when I present. I always try. I always try to find a nice citation, and this is the citation from Hamlet of William Shakespeare. Nothing is good or evil by itself, and it fits well with what I want to say. These were the playgrounds in the 20th century, and I think that you still remember it. For me, it was great. But what I'm trying to say, we didn't need it much at that time. Right now, it has changed. Now, playing is completely different. It's digital. It's different. We have smartphones, as one can see. When I was thinking about the topic, there were 171 comments under this proposition of the smartphone bans being absurd. Why we as parents, you as teachers, are afraid of smartphones at schools because they will cheat, they will not focus on the class, they will communicate on chats, they will photograph tests. Of course, when I was a teenager at school, if I got bored, if I didn't like something, I didn't have internet, but somehow I found my ways to do some other things. But on the other hand, are we going to ban, and then what? Will we turn the technology back? Are we going to ride horses in the cities? Or do we want to come back to this traditional role of a teacher? Fortunately, it was before my times, because I would be suffering badly. As a matter of fact, we often say that thanks to internet, the world has turned into a global village, and this is how it is right now. But this is such an obvious thing. Thanks to this internet, everyone can communicate to one another. I was trying to find a specific picture, but I wasn't able to find it. There was this Alf series, and Willie said at some point, for this child, Alf is nothing strange, because from the very beginning, Alf will become part of his life. And the same applies, and I have two sons, 6 and 9 years old, for our children. Internet is a natural part of their ecosystem, and we are not going to change it, however much we want. I heard this joke. A granddad says to a he says, at some point there was no internet, and the child goes, yes, but how many hours? Because they just can't get it that internet did not exist before. Do we as parents use our advantage? They want to go down, they do whatever they can, but we are obstinate because we believe that internet is evil. And internet can be evil. I was on vacation this year, and when I went into a restaurant, I saw a child with a tablet. The children are on the tablet all the time, and mother is feeding her, even if she's a teenager. It's not really normal. It's obvious that in the internet we have such situations. You never know who is on the other side. Because as a matter of fact, if we give free access to internet to a child and we say, just go at it, we can. It's tantamount to putting this child inside the correction center for child abusers. What we can do is watching and looking at the screen. Should we switch it off? I think that the majority of us sometimes I want to remove a tablet or smartphone from my child because it's evil. I remember when we were launching a special campaign of Orange, Małgorzata Ome said, "Why are you afraid of the internet? Because you are not part of this natural environment. It's not natural for you because you are used to going out, that you had friends outside. But why it is a problem that my child has some friends from Australia or China? It's not a problem. I think it is even better. And what one can do with that? We are really terrified. Maybe our child sitting on the internet is not doing stupid things. Maybe there is some great idea that occurred to him. Maybe thanks to this internet, he's going to invent something, or he will come up with some medicine for cancer. And that's why this is an interesting thing for you, because we at Orange operate on the assumption that for the safety and security in the internet, you need to have a comprehensive approach. It's not that we have something here, something there. Safety in internet is one large process which is made of parts which go together. Total security policy, which is made of several aspects. To which we have some products assigned, and every product is protecting from certain phenomena, but they are only effective when they are part of total security policy. Let us return to the concerns of parents. Some time ago there was a survey. Parents feel responsible for the security in the network. They are afraid of contact of children with dangerous contents. For me, this is the key, that they are concerned, and this fear paralyzes them to a certain degree. That's why you need to keep calm. You have to forget about the shame and or being ashamed, and understand that it's never too late to start learning. Now the world is different, and we are not going to turn the clock back. And we cannot assume that spending time on the internet is useless automatically. Maybe your child is taking part in voluntary campaign and is reading a fairy tale to another child in which needs it. What about the security in the internet? Many of us has thought that security in the internet is all about antivirus software. It's not only, at least. We can educate ourselves, we can read a lot of books, but this is not enough. We can use a firewall. This is also useful, but when it's separate, it will not work. The same applies to these. It will not be effective when we do it together. And how can we handle this? This is a slide from a different presentation, but I think it's really useful. we should speak to our children. I remember during the large session, one of our colleagues from the UK mentioned this. If a child wants to use a social network, then I need to be your acquaintance or friend. And I also wanted to show you a YouTube video, but I don't think we will have time. You can photograph a link at the end, and there will be a link to all these films. Well, our children will always reach to a forbidden fruit. What can we do? One can Google these. I will return to the animations. One can use Orange PL site. Have you already covered this? I think you're going to talk about it tomorrow. This is the website which contains various materials for children, for teachers, for parents. And just as I said, we should forget about our being ashamed of it, and also the telecom operators should act responsibly. It's not only about having an antivirus software, and a responsible telecom operator is convergent. This is a fashionable word, just like synergy. He does a lot of activities, many activities convergently together, which produce a result. One can use a YouTube, and I'm responsible for preparing some videos on security in the network, which briefly and concisely explain how to go about this security. And one can take a look at Orange blog, where I'm also trying to use an understandable language. What is it all about with the security and safety in the network? One can use a safe starter, but I'm not going to dwell on it because we covered it a year ago. And if you cannot do it and you use Orange Poland network, then you are protected by our cyber shield, which is advertised. And finally, I will give you some interesting numbers. I took a look at the statistics of Safe Starter for the last 6 months. After you put it into a telephone or tablet, it blocks some hazardous contents for the youth and also malicious software. What has been blocked? It was we aimed at pornography. 207,000 attempts were blocked. 363 when it comes to paid websites featuring nudity and sex. Extreme and horrible sites were not so popular, but it also blocked so many incidents of viruses, almost 700,000 of sites which tried to use the vulnerabilities of the site. Here we have the websites. You can photograph it, and what we plan in the future. One of the successes was the parental advisory of mobile phones. Unfortunately, right now, only in case of prepaid, but I hope that in the future it will change. There is a plan to have a service which can be configured freely. You can create black and white lists. Then it will be paid service, but it will be not very expensive because this Safe Starter as a service is free of charge. Right now, the ICT security is one of the most important points. It's one of the pillars of the strategy of Orange Poland, and I think that we will be more and more focusing on the security and safety of children in terms of the network. And I have 2 children, I have 2 sons, so I'm really keen on it. I think with that I would end my presentation. If you have any questions, we still have 3 minutes. Thank you. By way of summary, I wanted to return to what we can do as parents, as teachers. We can use available tools, which would be the tools from Project Safer Internet or other institutions. We should notify police and other institutions. We are also taking such notifications and do not stay indifferent. We are not going to solve all the problems at once. It will take a while before we deal with pornography, but please don't be indifferent. I remember that when we talked about pornography, some said that this is fighting an uphill struggle. If something is difficult, if something is really difficult, should we not do it? Should we leave it like that? The Chinese say that 1 drop is enough to penetrate the rock, and I think that we should be really obstinate about such efforts. And on this optimistic note, we can finish.